Hi, I'm Ryan Meyer with TiER1 Performance, and I'm here today to talk about strategy activation. Since that might be a newer term, we'll start by defining what it is and why it's important. Then we'll talk about what's so hard about it and an approach you can use to activate strategy in your organization so that it's impactful and that it will stick. Organizations implement new strategies all the time. It might be an operational strategy meant to increase efficiency and improve the bottom line, a growth strategy like introducing new products or acquisitions, people strategies like shifting culture to improve retention or reskilling to support talent mobility, true transformations that alter your value proposition or your operating model, or just responding to external factors like a shifting world, industry, or demand. The common thread is that you're looking to create broad change across your organization to significantly create new value. But how does it come to life? What needs to change to realize that potential value? People need to adopt new behaviors. They need to learn new skills so they can adopt structures, processes, and systems, and ultimately find new patterns of interaction and ways of working. And people need to form new mindsets. We need to define new measures of success so that they can adjust their tolerance for risk, know where to take chances, and make decisions in new ways based on new priorities. And what's the one common factor? It's people. Strategy activation is dependent on people. No matter how many plans or systems you put in place, you need the people in your organization to help move them forward. And that's why it's so important. You've invested in the strategy because your organization is seeking breakthrough results. But that future state that you've envisioned just won't exist without the people bringing it to life. That's why we need to take steps to make people's lives easier, empower them to contribute, even as the game plan is changing, so that we can realize the full potential of that strategy investment. So we've talked about what strategy activation is and why it's important, and now you're ready to make it happen in your organization. That's great, but the fact is, it can really be a challenge. Let's talk about some of the reasons why it can be so hard. It's not uncommon to announce a new strategy, but then see things stall. You might hear people say things like, how do we keep the lights on while we're also trying to change direction? What do we need to start doing or stop doing or keep doing? Who owns all this anyway? And why don't I see anything changing? How do we know when we're moving the needle? And are we there yet? This can all come from lots of factors like not articulating a compelling vision, not being able to build and sustain momentum, and not being agile to pivot as things change. It's also hard because transforming organizations is complicated, with lots of competing tensions. We need broad skills and approaches for effective organizational change, but they need to be unique to your organization, your timing, and your culture. We need persistence and commitment to a long-term view, but we can't let that prevent us from pivoting and continuously improving in the short term. And we need multifaceted planning, since there's likely going to be several initiatives going on in parallel, but we can't manage that all top-down in an efficient way. We need to empower dispersed ownership and accountability. But as we said, strategy activation is ultimately about people, and people are complex. When we think about the whole human, we know there are a multitude of aspects that affect our motivations and our behaviors: social, emotional, biological, relational, habitual, and intellectual. This is why we focus on creating experiences that get people bought in emotionally, to reduce that fear of change, why we shift mindsets and mental models, and ultimately we focus on driving those new behaviors that get us to the results we're looking for. Hopefully I haven't scared you away by talking about how hard it can be to activate strategy. Here's a framework you can use to get started in your own organization. There are 5 components that are critical to success in this type of work. First is align, gaining buy-in, defining what success looks like, and identifying and prioritizing the key initiatives that are going to move the organization forward. Inspire, communicating a compelling vision of the future that will serve as a North Star over the months or years to come. Equip, empowering middle and frontline leaders who are so important in connecting the strategy to the work. Mobilize, delivering the experiences and infrastructure that bring those changes to life. And adapt, measuring results, listening for feedback, and adjusting efforts in a way that everyone can see and understand. Let's dive into those a little more and see what they might look like. Align is all about getting your leadership on the same page. You'll need to engage senior leaders and stakeholders across the organization, often through facilitated workshops, to help identify, prioritize, and sequence initiatives. And you'll need to define what success looks like and how you'll know if you're getting there by ensuring you have feedback loops and measures for continuous assessment. Inspire is about painting a vision for the future. Strategies can take a long time to bring to life, and people fear the unknown. So the more clearly you can help people understand and be inspired by that potential future, the more willing they'll be to step into the new behaviors that are needed. This might look like developing a narrative and a brand for the overall initiative, and then delivering communication and engagement strategies across the organization. That might include things like branded email campaigns, social intranets, town halls, roadshows, and videos, and even podcast series. Equip is all about using your existing middle and frontline leaders as a critical leverage point for driving and reinforcing activation. They're the ones who have the most impact on the day-to-day work where change takes place. We empower them by giving them tools, conversation guides, and communications so they can be an effective change agent. We also connect them across the organization so they can provide support and insights within their community. And we leverage them as a powerful listening tool so they can surface challenges, dependencies, and successes. Mobilize is when we set the system in motion. We may be rolling out new systems and processes, reorganizing teams and roles, and asking people to make decisions in new ways. This might require learning portals or academies that help people build new knowledge and skills, or job aids and automated guides that give people reminders and help within the flow of work. There may be existing programs that need to be integrated with or even adjusted to ensure alignment. And through it all, we want to help individuals clearly understand expectations and how they're doing through metrics and scorecards. And last but not least, adapt, where we iterate towards that vision. No plan is perfect. Measuring, learning, and adapting in an agile way is incredibly important to making changes that stick. You should be continuously observing and making sense of the measures that were put in place in those previous phases. You'll likely find that you need to reprioritize and resequence initiatives based on the changing factors and lessons learned. And maybe most importantly, be sure to loudly celebrate those successes along the way so people feel a sense of progress and momentum and they know what good looks like. So hopefully that was a helpful introduction to strategy activation. We love this stuff, so we'd be happy to talk more about what's going on in your organization, what's working and what's not working, and how we might be able to help. Thanks.